Now we'll talk about learning pragmatics by doing it. Grundy is of the view that students can learn pragmatics more quickly by doing it with the help of some data-driven pragmatic analysis. If they are asked to collect data from a real-life situation and analyze it from various pragmatic perspectives by explaining them what those perspectives are, they would be in a better position to understand what pragmatics and its various aspects are. Usually in the disciplines or in the academic settings where the subject of pragmatics is offered, the students conduct a pragmatic analysis by the end of that course. Even when they opt for it as their final thesis project or some dissertation project, and they do it at the end of their overall program. So what do they do usually? Let's have a quick look into the process, what students do while they conduct a kind of pragmatic analysis. Their work may consist of recording naturally occurring data such as conversations, meetings, institutional talk, media talk, an instruct sequence, classroom talk, or any interview. In fact, whatever interests them in the real-life conversation could possibly become a topic for pragmatic analysis. They might select some period of real-life conversation, as minimum as 2 minutes or as long as their goal desires. But it shouldn't be too much. It shouldn't be too much that a good analysis may not be conducted on it later on. They describe both the distal context and the immediate context, context in which it occurs after recording the data. And if the data is transcribable and analyzable, students move to the next stage, and that is about transcribing it. After transcribing it, they may bring it to their classrooms, and they can share their data if they like to with their other class fellows and teachers, which would provide them feedback and would also give them some clues about how to manage their data and what kind of strategies may be adopted to analyze a data. And such a discussion and feedback may be very important for a pragmatic analysis, because this is about real life situations and real life talks. So in this way, other people's understanding of such situations and talk would be very helpful for the researchers in the domain of pragmatic analysis, because they can get some good advices to conduct it in a proper way. When their approach is decided, they write about the analytic parameters they intend to use. What parameters would they employ to analyze that data? They can decide about it relying on their own knowledge of methodology, as well as taking help from their teachers and peer students' feedback. For example, a student recorded a mother-small child exchange in which the child was complaining vigorously about having to leave a place she was visiting earlier than she had expected in order to go back home. So the child was probably complaining about leaving a place early, while her mother wanted her to leave that place early along with herself. Amid the shouting and the tears, two things became clear. The mother was constantly presupposing that they were going to leave, and the child was constantly striving for different ways of making what had been implicatures in the early part of the exchange more and more explicit. Therefore, you could see a constancy in the mother's contribution and a progressive development in the child's contribution as she became more and more engaged. So you could develop various elements through which mother presented her point of view, and the various pragmatic elements which emerge from child's insistence. So, and through this, you could conduct a reliable pragmatic analysis by pointing out various socio-cultural and conversational patterns involved in it. Interestingly, it would be very useful to identify the kind of speech used by the both participants in the conversation in such a study. Put like this, it seems simple, but it takes a lot of energy, a lot of hard study and careful analysis to uncover such patterns from complex data and data which is coming from natural settings. Now imagine a situation in which you would like to record a talk and would like to conduct your own pragmatic analysis. As the title of this module shows, I would invite you to record some data. It may be a brief data, minimum data as good as 2-3 minutes data, and try to conduct your own pragmatic analysis based on it. Try to identify whatever you can, and later on try to match that with some professional pragmatic analysis conducted by a renowned researcher. And through this, you will be able to understand not only the pragmatics, but also how to conduct pragmatic analysis professionally.